party.
It's nice having a small group after a big group.
Yes.
So thank you so much for coming. Happy to see you. And hopefully the rain will hold off for a little bit longer.
My husband took off, but I want my stickers.
Oh, sure.
And his too. We'll put them on our cars. Thank you.
Yeah, of course. So, welcome. My name is Tiffany Lindley, and I am the Director of Archaeology here at the Alamo. This is Gabriela Zaragoza, who is another archaeologist here. And what we are sharing are artifacts that we have found at our current project. So we have a project going on right now in the courtyard over. It's a bit of a mess, so we set up here, but you can kind of see where the tarps are. So there's going to be a drainage system that's going to go in against the Long Barrack, get water away from the historic structure. Before that construction, though, we're in to make sure that nothing is impacted, that we can recover any artifacts. And you know, we had a pretty good idea that we would find a lot of artifacts, but not as many as we actually have found. We have over 120,000 artifacts so far.
Wow.
This is just a very small, little grouping here.
A fingernail.
In addition to our artifacts, we also have structural features. So there's a Spanish colonial doorway, the foundation for the doorway that we have found, so that's dating to 1724. And then there are stone walls that are crisscrossing the courtyard that are from the U.S. military reoccupation of the site. So that's in our 1850s. So really exciting to find those. We're also finding floor surfaces. We have caliche floor surfaces from the Mission period. We have a layer that we have directly dated to the battle, which is very, very rare to be able to pinpoint an exact moment in time. And we also have a cobblestone floor that the Army put in the 1850s as well.
1850?
Yeah. 50s, yeah. So after they got back to the U.S. military, when they were here, we don't have an exact year, but we know it was whenever they arrived.
The Mexican War.
Yeah, so it's, in that time period. So some of the artifacts that we have out here are ceramics, which we are, as you can see, finding a lot. What's really great about the ceramics is that you're able to tie them to a very specific time in history, because styles and decorations are very, very unique, kind of like clothes are, right? So some of our older ceramics are our Pueblo polychrome, which is early 1700s. And then these are also very early 1700s. We have a piece of Chinese porcelain, which I always find really, really exciting, because you can get porcelain from Europe. The Chinese porcelain, though, is actually older. So,
And that's Chinese.
yes. So this wasn't reproduced here, so this was brought from China. And then some of our unique pieces, we have this ceramic here, which is called Goliad. This is the same type as this. Goliad was made by the indigenous population of the missions. But you can see this one, it's nice, looks pretty plain. Here we have this beautiful little squiggle line, and there's also a red band that would have been near the mouth of the vessel. This had never before been found anywhere other than Mission Refugio until a few months ago when we found it on our project. So never before found anywhere else, but now we have it here. Another example of that, this piece here has only ever been found at La Bahia, and we found it on our project. So brand new, not just to, the Alamo, but to anywhere. So it's only been found at those missions. So that's really exciting. Some other types of ceramic. I really like the Valero ceramic, which is a very pretty lead glazed ceramic. See this one right here
Is that indigenous?
This one?
Yeah.
No, this one is not. This one was made in the missions, and it's wheel thrown. And this actually is from our very own mission. It's from Mission San Antonio de Valero, so it's called Valero ware.
I'll be darned.
So it's first identified here, and now we know it's pretty common in other missions in Texas, but we're the first. So another really exciting piece, and what's really cool is if you can look closely, and those like very faint striations, those are the wheel thrown marks.
Oh.
What I really like about ceramics is you can really see the people making them, because sometimes you'll see fingerprints, and this piece here was made by an indigenous population, so it's influenced by the Caddo. The Caddo people made a ceramic like this, and these right here are actually fingernail impressions.
Oh.
So as they were making them, they just punched their finger down just like that, and it would go around just like a decoration. And so it's very unique.
Very unique.
So pretty exciting things. Some other exciting things, you know, ceramics are clearly my favorite. But we also have a lot of stone tools. These are called Guerrero points, which were popular during the mission period. The indigenous population would make these points here. So those are all Guerrero points. This piece is another arrow point, but it's called a Perdiz point. And this dates to about 500 years previous to the Guerrero point. So this predates the mission.
Wow.
So not only is it pretty
It's
rare, it's
intact.
yes, it's beautiful. And the only piece missing is just one little notch right there. So that was a huge surprise.
Tell what kind of stone it is?
It's made out of chert.
Oh,
Indigenous
Wow.
to this area.
Yes.
It was made on site.
I wouldn't say it was made on site. It's indigenous to,
vicinity.
yeah, somewhere in central Texas.
Yeah.
And then,
and so these were found all around the grounds here?
no,
or
these are
just-
all found at the project over in the next courtyard.
And
On
that's
the
in
grounds,
the
yes.
barrack?
Right on the exterior of the Long
Oh.
Barrack.
How many Indians populated this area? Do you have any idea?
There's a lot of different estimates. We know there was about 104 different groups that were here,
That's a
so you know, probably the population was pretty large, especially at the beginning of the mission. We know as it got closer to secularization, then the population was starting to be a little bit lower, probably just because of migration out of the area. But yeah, it's hard to say exactly.
What were some of the tribe names? Do you know any of them?
So we know the Lipan Apache were here, Kiowa, a lot of Cahuilla Tecan speaking groups were here. So, Comanche were, Tonkawa, yeah. So there's a lot.
So some of the badasses.
Yes.
Except the Comanches. Were they were here?
They were here, but not inside the mission.
Yeah, they were outside creating
They
the
were
trouble.
outside the mission. That's one of the reasons why a lot of the indigenous came to the mission life, to be protected from the Comanche.
Were those Indians farming at all when the Spanish came, or not?
Not really.
They
No,
were
a
hunting?
lot of the groups were family bands, and so they were moving with the seasons. So there wasn't no agriculture, but you would sometimes see like horticulture, but nothing to the degree that the Spanish were doing.
And I guess buffalo were in the area back in those days, so they could hunt the buffalo, deer.
Well, and what's really interesting is that we get a lot of, points like, these Guerrero points and also spear points that indicate the indigenous populations were still going out and hunting, even though food was being provided in the mission. There was, cow, there was pig, and there was farming. So a lot of the hunting was more to reinforce like cultural beliefs and family and camaraderie. It was more of a bonding activity and not so much we need to go get food. It's we're upholding our cultural tradition.
Put some meat on the table.
Yeah, so really interesting to still see that. It was also a little bit of a defiance against the Spanish. So like, you can't tell me what to do.
Yeah. Any of those tribes still intact?
Yes. So a lot of the tribes, like the local tribes, have kind of merged together, and we don't see the largest local tribe is American Indians of Texas, and there are a lot of Cahuilla Tecan speaking groups. So they a lot of these like smaller bands kind of like fall under like one umbrella now.
But they still identify as tribes
And maintain their languages?
The Cahuilla
That'd be
Tecan
great.
speaking groups are learning. A lot of those languages were,
Right.
I don't want to say killed out by the
Right.
mission institution, but
Quashed.
kind of, yeah.
They were discouraged.
There you go. They were discouraged. So we are seeing a resurgence in a lot of, especially like young populations coming, and so there's a revitalization in the language. And now you have other tribes like the Apache, who are a federally recognized tribe. So you want to get into the weeds, you can, but you have, you know,
Yeah, got it.
your local groups, and then, you know, your federally recognized groups. And so those federally recognized groups, you know, they're, you know, still very much intact, but a lot of them have moved outside of the Central Texas area.
Oh, sorry.
Gotcha. Are those shots or what are those?
We do. We have musket balls and gun flints down here. And some of these are not just musket balls, but bucking ball that was used, and then other canister shot as well.
Used in the cannons.
Guns.
Bunches of them.
Yes, bunches of them. Yeah.
Yeah.
Put into a canister and then shot out. So we have just tons and tons and tons of different projectiles. This is just a small selection. I don't
Have you found David Crockett's will?
Still looking for that one.
Looking for that, okay.
Yeah, still looking.
That'd be a useful item to find.
Yeah, man, I feel like I would like just guarantee like, you know, job stability. Look what I found.
Yeah.
You can't fire me.
And is all this recent?
Yes, all of this is work from
Really?
the Long Barrack project.
That's incredible.
Do you mind if I ask a question?
Sure.
I've heard about something called Valero ware. Is there? Yeah. And what are some of the distinguishing features of that?
So Valero ware is wheel thrown. So this is an example that's decorated. We don't find a lot of decorated pieces, so just the mere fact that we found one and of the size is pretty amazing. But then you have, usually we find the plain small pieces. But what you can see, you gotta get the right light, you can see these faint lines. Do you see that?
But just barely.
Those are the wheel thrown marks.
Okay.
And so that's, and you can see it pretty well. So.
And this was locally made?
Right here at the Mission, yeah. So they would be making these in the Mission. There is historical record of a kiln on site. We have not found that. It's not ever been verified. But if we could find it, that would be fabulous because we would know exactly, you know, that they were making them right here. Some future research plans that I actually have an X-ray fluorescent machine coming, and what that does is I can look at the ceramic and look at the chemical compositions of the clay, and I can source the clay, so I'll know exactly where this clay comes from.
This is a spear point?
No, look at this.
It's a knife?
It's a knife.
It's just a eating knife?
Just a utilitarian everyday knife with a still very sharp point. So
It's like a pot handle or something.
this one actually, if you hold it up, is a spur. And this,
Ah.
with the last group, I misspoke and said horseshoe, and then I was like, no, it's but it was too late. No, it's a spur.